Hi, it's late on Saturday night. I thought before I retire for the evening, apart from having a glass of very nice red wine, I thought I'd make just a quick video. Title of this video is "Do Larger Sensors Gather More Light?" What's really prompted me to make this video is I was recently on the DP review site looking at an article there where they're comparing the Fujifilm GFX-R output with the output from the Nikon Z7. And in the comments section of that article, DP review contributor Mr. Richard Butler made the following statement, and I'll read it to you word for word. At the same f number, a larger sensor will experience more light, brackets, same light per square millimeter, but more square millimeters, close brackets. Considering this perspective tells you more about the final image than exposure does, brackets, the same exposure gives very different performance on different formats, even though the brightness is the same. End quote. That statement is wrong. I'm going to go on to tell you why. Looking at that also reminded me of a video I watched on YouTube recently from on the Theoria Apopassis site, often known as the Angry Photographer, where he was commenting on a video he'd watched by one of the really big YouTube channels, where I won't mention his name, but the chap on that site had made the following statement, and I'll quote this word for word, or more or less word for word. Although the light per square millimeter is the same, the larger sensor has more square millimeter and therefore gathers more total light, resulting in lower noise. That is a wrong statement too. Okay. Right, let's answer that. Let's tell you why those statements are incorrect. Okay. Firstly, let me state categorically, larger sensors do not gather more light. Larger sensors may have a number of advantages for various reasons, but they do not gather more light. As the Angry Photographer correctly pointed out, his external light meter that he uses, one of the best available, does not have an input setting for sensor size. It doesn't matter how big your sensor size is, exposure is per unit area. Okay, so the Angry Photographer was absolutely right in saying that. So it really depends whether the two sensor sizes have the same number of pixels as to how much light they sort of gather, or how they make the best use of the available light. Let me explain. Consider two 24 megapixel digital cameras, one with an APS-C size sensor and the other one with a larger full frame sensor, also 24 megapixels. Okay. On the larger sensor, the megapixels have a larger pixel pitch. They're not quite so close together. Therefore, the photosites are larger. Now that gives the advantage of each photosite is able to make better use of the available light that's hitting the sensor, which is the same in both cameras. But the sensor with the larger photosites is able to make better use of that light. Okay, because the individual photosites it's like Ken Wheeler, or the Angry Photographer, uses the analogy they have bigger eyeballs. Okay, the larger sensor has bigger eyeballs, therefore they make better use of the light that hits the sensor. The end result of this is probably better dynamic range and better high ISO performance. I say probably because there's other factors that come into play here, such as processing, the SNR firmware, the micro lens design on the photosites, the analog to digital converter design, because sensors are analog devices. The output from them has to be converted into a digital format that the camera uses, and that is it's the AD converter that does that job. This is why larger sensor sizes generally give better image quality, but it's really simplistic and frankly wrong to say this is because larger sensors gather more light. They don't. Okay? Larger sensors have advantages. Either you can have the same number of megapixels as a smaller sensor, and then therefore bigger photosites, getting better dynamic range, better high ISO performance that I've just talked about, or you can get a greater resolution, you can have more megapixels before you start running into problems with the limitations of high ISO. But basically, the smaller the pixel pitch, the more jam-packed the photosites are on the sensor, the worse the dynamic range is going to be, and the worse the high ISO performance is going to be, everything else being the same. So that's basically it. That's my little mini rant over. I just wish to support the angry photographer on this, because he's absolutely right. More people need to be saying this on YouTube and elsewhere. So hopefully people like DP Review, who should know better, will not get things like this wrong in future. Thank you for watching my video, and cheers.